Well, for this week's Climate Close-Up, we're going to have an in-depth look at some of our fall temperatures and how they've trended in the short term this year and then a little longer term as well, looking back over a period of several years. So there's no denying it. We've certainly had a warm fall this year. It was certainly felt warm, and so far through September and October, we've already seen those averages almost over 4 degrees above normal through September and October for 2024. Of course, it won't be till the end of November when we do have that final calculation for what our average fall temperature is, and there's still time to go in the month for us to be warmer or cooler than average. And of course, over the last couple of years, we've noticed a little bit of a warmer trend in our falls as well. 2021 to 2023, the 3 falls previous to this one, did have an average temperature almost 2 degrees warmer than average through the September to November timeframe. So we have been seeing warmer falls. This affects things in our area such as when the leaves change color. Of course, daylight amount has a good amount to do with that as well, but temperature can have an influence as well. Also impacts animal behaviors and things such as migrations for migratory animals moving through. Now, looking at things a little bit wider out, longer range, over the last 50 years since 1970, Cedar Rapids hasn't seen a ton of warming, relatively speaking. I'll show you in just a minute what I mean by that. But we've seen about a degree of warming over the last 53 years from 1970 over to 2023. And that also means with that warming, we've seen more days in fall that are warmer than average. We've seen an increase of about 5 days where in any given fall, we'll have as many as on average 5 days that are warmer than average as opposed to average or cooler than average. And that does track with the warming that we have seen since 1970 as we have a broader scale look over the entirety of the U.S. We do see that here in Cedar Rapids, somewhere between 1 and 3 degrees of warming since 1970 time frame. We've also seen in other areas such as the southeast U.S. and kind of the Ohio River Valley, they haven't warmed quite as much as we have or as other areas in the U.S. have. Different areas do warm differently over different seasons, and in the western U.S., they've seen the largest amount of warming. So if we were to look at a city out west, say Denver, Colorado, we'd notice that they've seen a good bit more warming than we have over the fall period over the last 50 years, whereas we had about a degree of warming, they had more in line with 3.5 degrees of warming. And for them, that does translate to a greater amount of days that are above average during the fall. So we do see them having 15 days on average that are warmer than average as we've gone from 1970 to now in 2023. So for them, they've likely felt and noticed a much greater change than we have here in eastern Iowa. So that does bring us to a conclusion for this week's Climate Close-Up, where we've, again, kind of had an in-depth look at what we've noticed with our fall temperatures. We've noticed that they've been warmer in the shorter term, a little bit warmer in the longer term as well, but not quite as warm as other areas around the U.S. And coming up in a future segment, as we get into winter, we'll have an in-depth look at our winter temperatures as well and how they have been trending in both the short term and the long term.